Let's take a look at Tanjong Katong Girls Prelim 2022 Paper 1 Question 8. The expression 2x cubed minus ax squared minus x plus b, where a and b are constants, has a factor 2x minus 1. The remainder when 2x cubed minus ax squared minus x plus b is divided by x minus 3 is 25 times the remainder when 2x cubed minus ax squared minus x plus b is divided by x. Now let's analyze this question over here. You are given two sets of information to find two unknown. Okay, so which is good. We have enough information. So now let's take a look at this expression here. They did not give you a title. So if you want to, let's call this as function x. So when I'm given factor of 2x minus 1, which means I can substitute half into the function and the remainder that I'll get is 0. That's factor theorem. Next, I have this one here when I divide by x minus 3, which means when I substitute 3 into the function, the remainder will equal to 25 times. So I write 25 times. When it's divided by x means I substitute 0 into the function. Okay, now let's start with the info that we have over there. Let me just write down here. First, when I substitute half into the function, equal to 0 is the remainder. Okay, so now let me focus on getting coefficient of a here, which is minus 1 over 4a, and I write b. Now let me press my calculator for this one here and this one here. I'll be getting a minus 1 over 4. Now if you do not like to have fraction, what you can do is multiply 4 here, multiply 4 here, and multiply 4 over here. Okay, and let me also arrange so that I have a and b on the left and constant on the right hand side here. I'll label this as equation number 1. Now let me take a look at the second one. I have to substitute 3 into the function. Let me do here. So I substitute 3 into the function. Equals to 25 times 25. Now let me now substitute 0 into the function. Now, so you can see that whatever contains x is going to be 0. So what I left with is only b here on the right hand side. Okay, I'm substituting 0 into the expression over there. Now let me just simplify this one over here. So for a coefficient, I have 9a plus b. Let me just type calculator. 2 times 3 power 3 minus 3 here will give me 51. Arranging a and b to the left hand side, I have minus 9a, b minus 25, that's going to be minus 24b. And I'm moving 51 to the right hand side. Now notice that these are multiple of 3. Let me divide by negative 3. And I'll label this as number 2. Okay. Now notice that this is 3a, this is minus a. I'm going to times 3 for this number 1 here. Multiply by 3 here, negative 3a. Multiply by 3 is 12b. Multiply by 3, I have 1 here. I call this equation number 3. So I'm getting number 3 from number 1. Multiply left and right by 3. So now they have the same coefficient but different sign. Okay, so I'm going to add 2 plus 3. So this one's gone. Let me add here. So I have 20b equals to 20, which means b must be 1. Okay, so show that a equal 3, b equal 1. We are almost done. So next, I'm going to substitute into number 1. Okay, so I'm going to substitute b equals 1 into 1. So I have minus a plus 4 times b equals to 1. Minus a is 1 minus 4, which is negative 3. Therefore, a must be 3. Okay, so I have b as 1, a as 3, which we have completed our question part 1. Okay, now let's go on to question part 2. If you notice, question part 2 asks you to solve an equation 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus x plus 1. If you notice, This equation is when you insert a and b into this expression over here, which means we do not want to test the first answer again, because from part 1, we are given the factor is 2x minus 1. So I will start with 2x minus 1 as my factor. For part 2, let me write down the cubic equation, 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus x plus 1 equal to 0. I will start with factorizing. So this is cubic. I factorize linear factor 2x minus 1. A cubic expression can be factorized into a linear factor and a quadratic factor. So I put a big bracket here. I'm going to use factorization. Now, of course, I will let you know that as an alternative, you can also find quadratic factor by doing the long division, but I'm not going to show this method. Okay, I'm going to show you how you can do by doing a factorization using polynomial identity. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we check the first term, which is ax power 3. Now let's think about this one here. 2x need to multiply by x power 2. This times this will give you 2x power 3. So I know this one is my answer. Okay, next we are going to check constant, which is plus 1. So now let me take a look at constant. Negative 1 times, I need a positive here, so this one must be a negative 1. Okay, negative 1 times negative 1 going to give you a positive 1. So a quadratic contains of 3 terms, x squared term, constant. So the center here is going to be the term in x. So I do not know what's the coefficient. So usually I'll put a capital BX. You can write any letters you like. You can do KX. Okay. So I'm going to just write capital BX here. Next, I am going to check what B is. I'm left with 2 terms over here. So you're free to check the x squared or the x. Okay. So let me take a look at this one here. Maybe I'll connect to x. So I'm going to link this 2 term. Okay. This will give me a negative bx. So if I link this with this, I'll get a negative 2x. Okay, so next step, I'm going to just pull out the coefficient. So the coefficient, I write as minus b minus 2. So I look at the coefficient on top here is a negative 1. So I'm going to equate this to a negative 1. So negative b, move the 2 over, so 2 minus 1 is going to be 1. So b is going to be a negative 1. Okay, so now putting back in the b value, I'll get my quadratic factor as x squared minus x minus 1 equals to 0. So if you do a long division here, you should be getting this quadratic factor as well. Okay, this will be your alternative. Okay, now let's go on with this one here. We are asked to express the root in the form of c plus minus d over 2, okay, if the root is not exact. So the first root is exact over here, okay? So the answer from the first bracket here, the root is going to be 1 over 2. How about this part here? You have a quadratic. If you can't factorize into a nice answer, let's apply quadratic formula to find the roots. We got minus b plus minus b squared minus 4ac divided by 2 times a. Okay, so let's just plug a, b, c out, apply quadratic formula. Next, let's simplify this. 1 will be 1. Inside the cert, you have a square root of 5 divided by 2, which is the form that they want there. Alright, so this 2, if you want to write it again, so therefore the answer that we have is half and 1 plus minus cert 5 over 2. Okay, so that's our cubic equation. That's the solution of it.